Hello again, guys. Welcome back to Keth Plays Dungeon Defenders. Last one, we beat the Hall of Court. Interesting little map. Today we're going to be doing the Throne Room. Now this one has a boss, so I would highly recommend, if you got the extra mana, to dump a little bit of it into your damage. Now, speaking of damage, I did want to throw a little tip out there. If you're going to get to damage just regular mobs, just the random run-of-the-mill guys that come out, you know, during a mission, your range damage or physical damage, whatever your primary damage stat, is the way to go. However, ogres and bosses don't have any immunities. So your bonus damage, whether it's poison or lightning or fire, is a good alternative. As you can see, 39 to 45, so that's 6 points. And then 4 to 9 is 5 points. So you're actually getting a better upgrade if you do range damage on this particular weapon, but sometimes you get more damage on these. So I'm just going to pump a little extra in here. Once this highlights this additional projectiles, go ahead and dump a point in there. That's going to give me more projectiles, means more damage. And that'll only upgrade every couple levels. So we'll go ahead and continue to pump in 75. Oh, and I just missed an extra projectile. Oh well, it happens. So pumped in some extra amount. Again, I don't know how much you guys have, being as how I have quite a bit of mana available. So decide what it does for you. Whether or not upgrading is worth it, or you want to save that mana up. Now, the throne room, like I said, it does have a boss on it, and the boss is kind of difficult. So I would recommend taking hardcore mode off until you've actually played the boss and figured out how it's going to work. I'm actually going to go ahead and take hardcore mode off just in case. No sense in recording this and then dying and then losing the mission and you guys not being able to see how it goes. So we'll go ahead and start gathering up mana. You got 4 chests up here, 2 on the thrones and 1 on either side. Oop. There it goes. So there's a number of different chokes on this map. Both your crystals are right here in the center. They're both right down there. Now, one of the chokes that I like to use is right here at these stairs. And then I like to go ahead and throw down a magic missile tower right behind it. And we'll be buffing that up because quite a few mobs come from that direction. It's actually going to be defending mobs coming from this one, and this one. So bear that in mind. Now, your other chokes are kind of difficult, especially on an apprentice. One of your chokes is going to be here for these mobs coming out of this doorway on this side. So we'll go ahead and throw that and a magic missile tower behind it. Ogres come on this wave. I don't believe there are any... Oh yes, there are Werbans, now that I think about it. So that's something to keep in mind with your builds. Maybe back your missiles up a little bit further than you normally would, just because those ogres have a gigantic cleave ability. So we're going to go ahead and place down some walls on this side, and let's get a magic missile tower here and one right about here. Now, like I said, the mobs coming on this one here are going to get caught up by this magic missile tower over here. So, and as soon as we get a chance, we're going to upgrade, we're going to add some stuff. Same down here, we're going to go ahead and put those walls in. Let's see how much we have left. Yes, we have just enough for another 2 magic missile towers. So we're going to go ahead and G up. Now, 30 out of 100 defense units is kind of low. I usually, on my playthroughs, I like to place another choke right here on this side, on both sides. But because this is a boss wave, and we don't have the greatest stats, I'm going to save up those that extra DU to place a few more towers where the boss is going to come from. And that will hopefully help take him down. So, over here we're going to go ahead and put down a fireball tower. Right there. And do another fireball tower on this side. Come on. There we go. Fireball tower. And probably another magic missile tower onto this side. I think this spot's going to be good right here. So no major concerns. The extra magic missile towers, as opposed to anything else, is basically for the wyverns. Those guys come in, those guys are a pain. You definitely want a high speed tower to take care of them, and your magic missile's basically your best defense for them. Now the boss comes out of this side here, which is over here. He's going to come out of this door. So that being said, we are going to place a few extra towers on this side for that boss. And I'll show you when he gets here his kind of weakness and how to deal with him a little bit better. But the main thing I want to do is get as much damage on this side as I possibly can. Those deadly striker towers, those are going to put out quite a bit of damage. Good to have around for boss waves especially. We're going to throw down probably a lightning tower over on that side to deal with the mobs. That's not going to do a whole heck of a lot of damage to the boss, but it's definitely going to do some extra damage, thin out the mobs so that the towers can focus on the boss. So that's one perk to putting that down there. So, and it's got quite a bit of range, as you can see here. So I'm going to put it right there in front of that fireball tower. And we're going to start upgrading this side first. We want to get this side as upgraded as we possibly can, just because, the other sides I'm not overly concerned about. We've got quite a bit of damage out on them. All the different towers we're going to put up. You got the fireball towers, you got the walls, all that good stuff on the other sides. So we're not overly concerned about that. As you can see, they're doing fine just as they are. So, probably upgrade the wall there on this side. Maybe the fireball tower and stuff if we get enough mana, but our main focus, like I said, is going to be that boss side. And that's our primary concern. So, one of my viewers asked for tips. I'm going to be honest with you, that's kind of a little vague, but I'm definitely going to try and incorporate a little bit more into these videos as far as information on different mobs, things like that. So, but if you guys have any specific questions, especially if you can get a little bit more specific for me, that'd be great. Like I said, our primary goal on this map is the boss, nothing else. Like I said, we got the wyverns coming. We're going to have a couple of different things. But the main thing is, the main tip I can tell you is don't be afraid to fail. If you do die on one of these maps, it happens. I've been playing, like I said, I've probably clocked, I think the last time I looked was over 200 hours, something like that, into this game. So I have quite a bit of experience with it. So the reason that you don't see me failing missions very often is I'm used to a lot harder difficulties. I'm used to dealing with extra mobs that just don't come up on these easier difficulties. So, but believe me, the first time I came through, leveling up and playing this game the first couple times, I failed miserably at just about every level the first couple times. especially this one. This one took me forever because of this boss. This boss is a pain in the behind. But like I said, there are little tricks to helping you out as far as dealing with bosses. One of them's upgrading your weapon damage. You know, like we showed in a previous video, like I did at the beginning of this video. Another one is, you know, getting extra support from a pet. Another good pet to have is a guardian, the apprentice guardian. I'll maybe after we beat this boss wave, I'll stop and show you some of my pets and some of the guys to look for. Oh gosh, darn archers. And we'll show you some of the things to look for in those guys. Another big trick is leveling up multiple characters. Now I wanted to do this on a pure run, solely with one character, just because that's how most people start. You know, you get one character and you try to level it up. As you go along in the game, you're going to want to have extra characters. You're going to want to have multiple classes. You're going to want to have... Ooh, there's an upgrade over there. Ooh, and it does tower damage and run speed and has a ton of resists. Yeah, we're going to grab that up. You want to have multiple characters. The main reason is because certain towers are good for certain things. One of the big things, one of the most difficult classes to level up is actually the monk, if you don't know what you're doing. But he's one of the most useful classes in the end game because those auras of his just can dish out a lot of damage. They can slow mobs down. You can throw up a healing aura for boss fights, so you can stand there and get healed while you're fighting the boss. So there are definite perks to having a monk around. But like I said, it's a very difficult class to level up if it's your first character, if it's your first playthrough, and you haven't learned all the ins and outs of the game yet. So keep that in mind. Once I finish this series up, I'm actually probably going to go through and show you a couple of builds for the insane levels. They do give you a good amount of mana. They give you a good amount of experience. Go ahead and G up. Give you a great amount of experience, and you can actually end up, probably by your first playthrough, you'll have a character that'll be able to do some of those insane levels. With those insane levels, if you have an Xbox controller, or there's a lot of different ways to emulate a second controller from what I'm being told, or from what I've read on the forums. Now, I'm just getting beat up here on this wave. So your best bet is to invest in one of those. And personally, if you're playing on the PC and you don't have an Xbox controller, you really should think about investing in one. A lot of games are specifically designed with consoles in mind, and they just play better with a controller. Now, I'm a PC gamer. I haven't my Xbox has been collecting dust for years. Ooh, hey. How we doing over here? You may want to consider upgrading this side. Ooh, and I may want to consider healing. So, let's go ahead and do some upgrading. Right at that. And definitely watch where those ogres come from. There's a tip. If there's ogres around, you definitely want to watch what they're doing, because otherwise you may have a situation like this where your stuff goes down and you have no idea that it's happening because you're too busy paying attention to the wrong side of the map. Where was I? Multiple characters, extra levels. See, I lost my train of thought now. That ogre kind of messed me up. But yeah, it's definitely good. Oh, here's another tip real quick while I'm thinking about it. remember how we talked about godly items in the past, and we said they're level 60 items. Don't worry about them too much because you're not level 60. Pro tip, I guess you could say. Go ahead and pick those godly items up. Ooh, hey, level up. Let's get some more tower damage in there. Go ahead and pick them up, and here's why. Because while you're leveling up, you're going to be low on mana, especially if you're upgrading your weapons from time to time, so on and so forth. You're definitely going to want those godly items around. Because even if you can equip them, even if once you get to level 60, you decide you don't need, any of the ones you picked up and you found some better ones or something, you can throw those in your AFK shop. And I'll probably do a guide on that. But you can throw them in your AFK shop and sell them. I mean, godly items, even though they're not the top tier, they do sell for quite a bit as far as when you're leveling up. For me, godly items don't sell nearly as much as the mana I need, and I'm collecting mythicals anyway, and so they're not viable for me at this point in my gameplay. But on the lower levels, 100,000 mana for some of the armor you can pick up, some of the cheap godly stuff you can get, definitely gonna help you out. I've got a couple million mana. I think the last time I looked I had 200 something. That's not even a lot. I see people, online with billions and billions of mana, selling things for 400 million mana per item, stuff like that. So as you get up there, it's not going to do as much for you. Okay, got an overcoming, explosion, but I needed the mana. So it's not going to do nearly as much for me as it will for you at a lower level, especially if you're just starting out. Come on. I need you to die, friend. Sorry, but that's the way it is. Great, this magic missile tower. Oh, we got an armor upgrade here. That's hero damage, not good for me. Whoa! How did my Eternity Crystal get under attack? Not good. Where the heck did that guy come from? That's interesting. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, ogre down. That's good. Heal up. Weird. Let's go over here and repair this. I'm not going to bother upgrading it. It's holding up fairly well on its own. You know what? I've got plenty of defense units. What the heck is going on? One of my walls is just not where I need it to be. And it looks like these guys are coming from over here. So that's again, this is why I was trying to do kind of a minimalistic DU build on this map, because I wanted some extra ones just in case there were weaknesses in my build, and especially because of this boss wave coming up. So 34, that's not bad. But definitely don't hesitate to put in some extra towers in places. Like you got this guy over here that's beating on your wall, and your towers just aren't hitting. So, go ahead and come over here, upgrade this. This tower's taking. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to repair. Okay, all pairs and cores healed, which means the boss is coming. You've got about 15 seconds from the second that thing pops up to the point in which the boss actually shows up. Repair everything. We are going to summon some defenses. We're going to get another Deadly Striker up. This is Deadly Striker. We're going to get a few more of these up, actually. Just because we have the mana, we have the DU, and it's not going to hurt when the boss comes around to have those extra ones. Okay, so the Goblin Mech boss. This guy's kind of a pain. He's got missiles that he fires. If he gets too close to your towers, he will push them back, and that's his weak point there on his back, that open vent. So the rest of him is armored, takes less damage. You kind of got to get behind him to do damage. Now the problem with this boss, like every other boss that we've faced, or well, like the other boss we faced, is because we're an adept or apprentice class, we just don't do the damage that some of the other classes do. So, with multiple projectiles, we're doing a little bit more damage. So that's good. We're going to go ahead and back up a little bit. See how everything's doing over here. Those missiles are hitting my towers. That's not good. But now the Deadly Strikers are going to unleash on it. They're going to do some serious damage. So, like I said, that was the reason we did such a minimalistic build, and we were having a little bit of trouble on the other side of goblins getting through. Was because we wanted to put in some extra towers over here to deal with this guy, and that actually worked out real well for us. So, what do we got there? Hero damage. Nothing. 45. That's more hero stuff. I already saw the other two on that side. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back to the tavern real quick.
Though the throne room is in shambles, the four enjoy their victory over the Goblin army's mechanical contraption. But this joyful respite is rudely interrupted by a thunderous roar from outside. Racing to the rooftops, they turn their eyes to the sky and see a gargantuan dragon circling overhead, rallying his troops for the final assault. The four defenders ready themselves for the ultimate battle ahead.
So there you go, quick preview of the next boss we're going to have to face in 4 levels. Now, I brought you back here because
slay a dragon.
I wanted to go over saving stuff for the hero shop. So if you find something, there's our prize that isn't better than what I currently have equipped. So if you find something like a godly item, you can go ahead and hit move to shop. Once there, you go to hero shop or whatever you are. You come here, you click on it, and you set item cost. Now, as you can see, before my other thing pops up, this thing's worth 6,364 mana. You can set an item cost of whatever you want. For an item like this, it's not. You don't want to nearly price it at that much, but you could probably price it at about 10,000. And throw it in there. Then you enable your AFK shop, and after 30 minutes, you'll go on. So, good to know. As you can see, I have some serious item stuff in here that has some serious stats to it. And that's where I make most of my mana for upgrading. So definitely consider picking up those godly items, putting them in there for 100,000, 200,000, maybe 500,000 if you see one with really good stats. And at night when you go to bed, throw on your AFK shop, put in something like cheap godly items as the title of your shop, and eventually somebody will come in and buy it. And eventually you'll get some good mana going on. Alrighty, we're going to call it a day for this one, and we'll see you in the next one.